bit like a pick and mix.
Yeah.
You walk through Woolworths and just pick up the best bits. Don't go for the fudge; it's way too heavy.
Oh, I used to love the fudge though.
Hey everybody, it's John Lamberton here alongside my good friend and business partner, Mr. Jason Brockman. We are here for another episode of the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast, where as always, it is our job to help you get more customers and make more money without just working harder. So without further ado, let's dive straight into this month's episode.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast. Today we are joined by 1%er Simon Fisher. Simon describes himself as that property guy from Torbay who loves networking, traveling, sport and business. Simon, welcome to the ALB podcast.
Thank you very much for the welcome. Good to be here.
Lovely. That's property guy from Torbay. That's Peter Crouch's trademark, isn't it? That something guy?
Probably, but I wasn't aware of that, so I've invented it myself. It's just trying to be nice and simple and straightforward, really. It's most people locally know me as being involved in property, so it's just nice and easy to describe that without being too specific as to what I do. But if you've got property and it's in Torbay, I can probably help you.
And you've managed to describe yourself without using the word estate agent as well, which I think is a bonus, isn't it?
There is a definite reason for that. Property guys, people don't mind, I don't think. Estate agents, not so keen.
Exactly. I think, well, let's start there. Let's start with that property guy from Torbay, because that is very much what you're known as now, and it is that niche that you've carved out for yourself. But I think it hasn't always been quite as niche as that. You've blurred the boundaries of that property guy and Torbay in the past, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I have left Torbay a few times, but mainly, yeah. I met my wife up in Milton Keynes whilst following the mighty Torque United. We were playing Brentford that particular day.
Hang on, Torque were playing Brentford in Milton Keynes?
Well, no, I was seeing my friend in Milton Keynes, and then we went down to Brentford to watch the game.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, they've gone in different directions since that game, talking in Brentford. So, yeah, less said about that, really. But went out in Milton Keynes, met my wife, and ended up deciding to move up there. So I ended up spending 12 years up in Bedfordshire, where I'd been an estate agent down here for many years, and parents had always had pubs and had worked in those. So I had quite a lot of history of being sort of self-employed and doing lots of different things. But when I eventually went up there, I decided to leave agency and become a web designer, because the guy that was doing the website for the agency I worked for was based very close. I'd had an interest. I'd been involved with that process. So I contacted him and said, look, any chance, I know how to talk to estate agents. You know how to do your web design. And the idea was for me to come in and be a salesperson talking to estate agents to get them to have websites. And this was back in the day when websites for estate agency properties sometimes the company I was working for at the time only wanted 3 properties per office on the internet because they were fearful of giving out too much information for people. So it was a very, very difficult time to try and get through. And the idea was I was supposed to be selling it to other estate agents. And I ended up really being in the office doing some web design work, some basic stuff, and never really being allowed freely to go and contact the people that I was supposed to be doing. So stuck with that for a bit. About 18 months in, I thought, do you know what, this isn't really going to work. So I left there and did some self-employed web design for 6 to 12 months. Found that very frustrating because people were just taking forever to tell me what they wanted. They'd say, I want a website, and they'd instruct me to do it. And then I'd say, right, okay, I need some content. I need some copy. I need this. I need some sort of guidance as to where you want to go with this. And they give me 1 or 2 things. I'd then go back to them. And then 2 weeks later, I'd still be chasing them. And a month later, I'd still be chasing them. So I eventually thought, well, this isn't going to work long term for me. So decided to retrain and become a mortgage broker. I'd been very good at passing mortgage leads to the mortgage brokers in the agencies I'd worked in before. So I had a very sort of good interest in it and knowledge of what was going on. So I decided to go and train. I had to join a corporate company. So I joined Connells at the time, and they were good for training, very good for training. But that was when I started to realize I probably wasn't suited for being employed by certain companies, because I'd potentially be seeing clients in their home at 7:00 at night, getting home at gone 9. And then the company would phone me up the next morning and go, why weren't you in the morning meeting at 8:15? And I'd be like, because I was out signing clients up last night. Yeah, but you're supposed to be in the morning meeting. I'd be like, well, I can cancel the going out to see clients and signing them up and doing business for the company and come to a meeting if you'd like. Is that better? So I kind of worked out that wasn't going to last very long. So I left there, did another year working for an independent agent rather, as their broker. That was a bit better, but the leads weren't great. It was a bit old fashioned and yeah, I was getting a bit frustrated. So I finally took the plunge to become fully self-employed back in 2003, I think. So I did 3 years as a mortgage broker working from home. It was a good time because youngest daughter was at school. She was not even going to primary school, sort of playgroup and nursery and stuff, and then went to school. So it was great to be able to take her to school and then come back and pick her up and go to the park straight after work, and then I go and work in the evening. So that was good times, but probably to some extent I took my eye off the ball a bit, and I had a very lifestyle business without much ambition. So I think it was probably just I kind of flipped it a bit too much. And then I decided, well, I need to do something more. I needed to give myself a kick up the backside. And I thought, well, the best thing I can do is go and open an estate agency, because I've got experience in that. That will then give me the leads for my mortgage business. And I'll have to go out to work and I'll have to actually go physically do it, and I'll work more and I'll earn more, and it'd be great. And that worked quite well for about a year until the financial crisis hit. And we were then in a bit of a situation where I decided that having seen sort of a dozen people the previous month, there wasn't mortgages for any of them. And it wasn't the fact I couldn't do it. I was very good at getting people mortgages, but there just wasn't the market there. The lenders weren't lending. Everyone wanted things and went, no, they can't do it. And of course, the sales market died a death as well. So we were mainly a sales and a mortgage broking company. And I immediately had to flip, and we had to turn into a lettings company. But within a couple of years, we had a couple of hundred properties, maybe 250 under management. Things were improving from that point of view, and it was good. I was finding it very difficult with my business partner at the time. We had different kind of focuses on work, whereas I pushed myself to work more. I was putting in the hours and stuff. He didn't quite share that same kind of work ethic, would sort of disappear from time to time. And yeah, it was kind of frustrating for me. So I was getting to the stage of thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? Where am I going to go forward? And then thankfully, an ex-business partner, next sort of work colleague rather, and my best mate down in Torbay, contacted me and said, I'm looking to set an estate agency up. Can I pick your brains on some stuff? So I said, yeah, no worries. And I was down seeing him for a weekend, and I jumped in on a meeting they were having just to give them the benefit of what I would not do, not so much what I would do, but mistakes I'd made to go, okay, I wouldn't do that because that was a big mistake. And then we ended up, I ended up asking him, said, are you looking for any more partners? And he went, well, yeah, we were looking to get 3 of us. And I said, well, I'm ready. So I made the decision to leave my current business, move down to Torbay and set up a new business with Darren and another business partner who I'd worked with before. Sadly, Darren got given an outrageous offer to stay with his current employer, which he took. And then the other business partner decided he didn't want to do it either. So by that stage, I told my business partner I was selling. I handed a notice on the property I was renting at the time, because we'd sold my house a year before. And we were moving down, we committed to being down here. We were about to sign a lease on a premises. There wasn't a lot I could do. I was kind of, okay, I'm going to have to carry on. Thankfully, another guy who we'd all worked with previously was looking for something to do. So I dragged Jeff in, and we went into it in partnership. And sort of started from nothing really. So did quite well, a couple of years. It was hard going, but we did well, particularly on the rental side. We were pretty strong. But of course, it was just a one office branch. And probably about 3 or 4 years in, Jeff decided it was time he wanted to semi-retire. So I agreed to buy him out. And by that stage, my wife was working in the business from the start anyway. My eldest daughter had finished uni and was working in the business. And we were then sort of offered to buy him out. He stayed on part-time looking at our financials, which was good. And then we ended up sort of carrying on with that, just being a family business for a couple of years, until my business partner now, Darren, came back and said, right, I'm ready now. And then we kind of started the growth. And we had to make that decision as a family. So that was quite a difficult one, because we were getting to a stage where we didn't need that many more rental properties to kind of just about cover our costs and have a decent living. And we didn't have to put too much effort in. It was kind of just getting to a nice, stable situation. Or we could then have the other option of going, okay, we'll get Darren on board, we'll open a new office, and we'll go big. And we decided as a family that we were going to go and do the go big side of things. So we took him on board, opened an office in Wellswood, which is the premier area of Torquay. And that's been really successful in the last sort of 8 years or so. And then fast forward a few years, I won't give you all the details of everything we've done, every house we've ever sold or let. That's quite a few of them. We've now got 3 offices across Torbay, so one in Torquay, one in Paignton, and one in Brixham. A very strong lettings book. We currently manage in excess of 500 properties, which keeps us very busy. Sales are looking good. And we've also got a holiday lettings company based in our Brixham office. So that's where we are now. We went into the holiday lettings business as a partnership, so didn't actually buy into it. We kind of just agreed to merge it with what we're doing, and that's been interesting. There's been a few challenges in that in the last couple of years, which we're still working through. I think the government's changed a few things with regards to finances and regulations and planning permissions coming in. So we're sort of hopefully just sort of working our way through what's happening and hope to come out the other end stronger, where some might be falling by the wayside. So that's what we're doing that. But the general business is going well. We're always a bit reliant upon the market. We do quite well in a market that's not as strong. So whereas in a really strong market, any agent can do quite well. But when it's not so strong, we tend to pick up a bigger market share. And I think for us, it's about making sure that when that switches, we can grab a bit more of the market share in a good market. So that's where we are at the moment. I think we've got 24 staff in total. So a decent sized company. But we also have decided not to expand any further. So we're geographically in Torbay. We cover areas outside. So we cover the South Hams, Teambridge. We've even got properties up as far as Exeter, even Taunton for landlords we've got already. But we don't really want to go too much further from a geographical point of view. It works well for us, even more local.
Brilliant. Obviously, you quite weekly, don't I, Simon, for our one-to-ones. We mainly weekly. And one of the things that I've, my thing from the Christmas podcast is opportunity goggles. And we've kind of heard of a few opportunities over the last 22 years, which you've seized and taken advantage of. And I know on a Thursday, I enjoy listening to some of your challenges as well as the opportunities that are coming along as well. What other? Because I know you don't just do the property bit; you do mingle in amongst other opportunities that come your way. What that look like for you?
Yeah. So other things that have come our way, I'll talk about that weren't a success. So we bought a jet ski business with a few of us. That was a bit of fun until it actually started, and the weather was bad. And yeah, it's far too weather dependent. So my advice to anybody is don't buy any business that's weather dependent in the UK, unless it's dependent upon rain.
So you actually ran a jet ski business as well, didn't you?
It was one of the things in my back past. Did
it go well?
For a period of time? No, not for too long, to be fair. It was, I think you summed it up, really. It was a lot of fun.
It's definitely a lifestyle for the right person. It's a lifestyle business. If they love being out in the water and they don't mind the weather, and they're doing it, and they've probably got something else in the background, it probably is perfectly fine. But as a side business to running an estate agency and holiday list business, it wasn't the best idea. We also had bought a half share in a removals company with another couple of people, and that was tough. I think we thought that was going to be a lot more cross-pollination from clients. I think the market's a very tough market. There's, you can be a proper removals company, and then you're competing with man and van who doesn't even have a license or waste transfer license or anything. So you've got these sort of problems. And I think it was all very much a race to the bottom. I mean, you only have to go onto any of the Facebook groups and look about looking for a man and van cheap price, and you just see the prices come down and down and down. It's a very tough market to be in. So when we had the opportunity to exit that one, we looked at what we were doing and the time we were putting into it, and when we were going to start getting money out of it, and decided it was better for us to focus on our main business than it was to do that. And that was after we got rid of the jet ski business as well. So it was very much in our minds that we needed to be more focused on one path to make a good success of what we're doing, rather than getting everything else involved. So yeah,
sounds very familiar. I'm sure I've written in my book about doing too much and being Richard Branson. Frozen yogurt.
I did think about that for a while. That was a long time ago, that plan. But that's before I went vegan. So that is a long time ago. And we did bin that one off. That was it was a nice idea, but it was never going to work because it's again dependent upon the weather. It's lovely in the summer in Torquay when there's loads of people around and they're buying loads of stuff.
Get those people off the jet skis in the frozen yogurt shop. Brilliant.
It's almost the dream, isn't it? But you'd need to be really in the Caribbean or the Canary Islands to have a business that relies upon the weather.
Yeah, definitely. And as you've you've walked us through your journey there, Simon. There's so many like sliding doors moments, the forks in the road where you've said we could go lifestyle, we could go ambition. And it's interesting to see that you haven't taken the same fork every time. Sometimes you've gone, we're going lifestyle. And other times you said, we're going big. So what's your thought process at each of those stages?
That's a good question, actually. I'm not sure I've got necessarily a particular reason why one's the other. It's sort of how the wind blows in a particular day. It's maybe not a coin toss, but I think it depends on what we've been doing and how the general business is as to what we're looking to do. So we bought a few businesses, as I said, that have worked, the letting agencies, the portfolios. They're fairly standard and straightforward for us. They're not easy because you've still got to do the work to get them over the line. And whether it's a small business you're taking over or a slightly bigger one, the work involved to get the deal done and actually hand the cash over is still the same. You've then got to do the work to assimilate them within our portfolio. So that's quite straightforward for us. But it's not without its challenges. But I'd recommend that as an option for anybody looking to expand their business, to try and stick in the exact thing they know the best, and they have regular income. That's the beauty of the letting business. It's got guaranteed income. I say guaranteed, it's a regular income. You know it's going to come in each month. You know what you're going to need to spend to service that income. And unlike the sales business, we can make more money on the sales business in a good sales market. But when it comes to selling our business at the end of the day, we can't sell that business for anywhere near as much as we could sell a lettings business. So that's why we have the two different sides of it. And for us, the sales business does really well. We'll use that to try and invest in the lettings business to get more properties under management. But the decision process, it has depended upon what we've been doing at the time. Sometimes just the economy. I think some of the biggest probably sliding doors moment was we got offered by a company to buy us about 2 and a bit years ago now. And we thought, okay, we'll have a chat. There's no harm done having a conversation with somebody. And they put some figures forward, and they were a decent sized company with a lot of cash behind them. The deal was good. The money was pretty good. The terms were pretty good. It would be a cash purchase. There was no clawbacks. There was nothing going forward. Literally could have done the deal, taken the cash, walked away. And that was attractive. And we kind of went on that route for a couple of weeks. And we're like, yeah, it's the right thing to do. Yeah, we're going to do this. And that's because I think we were finding things tough at the time. Financially, it wasn't great. And we thought maybe this is the best solution. We can go off and do other things and decide. And interestingly, that was roughly when that happened, was when I signed up for the 1% Club. Because I got the offer and thought, oh, what am I going to do if I sell this business? And it was like, I don't know. Okay, let's join the 1% Club. After lurking around for far, far too long and thinking, I'll join that one time. I'll join that. Oh, I'll join it next time it comes up. I kept thinking, I'll join it next time. Never got around to it. But I joined it with a view of, well, I might, in 6 months' time, I might not have a business. And I might have some money. And I might have, what am I going to do next? And hopefully the 1% Club will help me to get the decisions as to what to do and give me some ideas or whatnot. But we then decided to say not to go ahead with the deal. And immediately the day after, we declined the deal. We phoned them up and were very honest with them and said, look, it's just not right for us now. We'll come back to you in the future if it ever is. I got an offer to buy another one. So somebody else came to me and said, I want to sell my lettings portfolio. So it went from selling to buying in 24 hours. So it is crazy. And there wasn't really a thought process behind it to some extent. It just happened. And then you thought,
what was that feeling? Because you said it didn't feel right, but what was that feeling?
I don't think it didn't feel finished. I don't think the business felt finished. I was very much didn't want to leave the business the way it was, and it was okay. It was a decent sort of high six figure offer we got, and we'd have ended up with a bit of money out of it, but it wasn't enough money to not have to work again or anything like that, or to literally just know, okay, that's going to sort all my bills out and pay my mortgage off and do all the things that you want to, and then go, okay, I've now got X £100,000 to put into the next business and do that. Yeah, if it had been double the offer, we probably would have taken it. But it wasn't worth double. So, it's then a matter from us of going, it didn't feel right to do it. And I think then also because it's a family business, I've got, my wife's working in the business still. My oldest daughter's been working in the business 10 years now. Her husband, 9 years or 8 years. My youngest daughter, 4 years. So we're all in the business. And my thought instead of actually selling it, is executing a false exit, moving myself slightly away from the business. Well, I say slightly, I've moved a lot further away from the business quicker than I thought I was going to do, actually, to be fair. And then to keep it for the family, because everyone else is reliant upon it. So if I sell it, they've all got to go. I mean, they would have been taken on by the new company, but we all know what happens when a family business gets taken on, and then you've got the random family members still stuck in the business. It doesn't tend to work that well. So I thought it was just better for me to keep it, and then it to be an ongoing business that it can feed us all, hopefully.
Yeah, it's dangerous because you have built the business around your lifestyle. You've built it around your family. And I think in the false exit, I ran those numbers and said, look, if you pull some figures out of the air, but let's say you sell your business for $1 million, and then you pay some tax on that, and then you pay some legal fees, and maybe you pay off some debt, and there's some legacy stuff that you've got to pay, and you might walk away with, say, 750,000. God, that's brilliant. But now you've got to replace the income you've lost. So you've now got to deploy that 750,000. And normally if you've got to get a yield of around 25% just to replace the income you've just sold. And it's like, well, where the hell are you going to get a yield of a guaranteed, safe, secure yield of 25% on your money? Well, the only place I know that you can get that is the business you've just sold. So why not exit that? And let's say if you can do a false exit, remove yourself from that day-to-day operations a bit more, then suddenly your hourly rate becomes so much higher. The enthusiasm for that business, and it is a different mindset, because one is, this is an asset here and it's worth £1 million. And if we do this to it, it'll be worth £2 million. And then we can sell and we can exit and we can take that asset and roll it over into the next asset. That is a different mindset to, I am building this business to be valuable to me.
Yeah.
And only me.
I totally get it. And for me, it is, I'd rather the business be here in 15, 20 years' time. I'm the wrong side of 50 now. And my view is, I think, well, I'm not really going to retire. I've always wanted to be able to retire. So if you said to me today, you've got enough money to retire, your business generates enough income, you can enjoy the lifestyle you want to in retirement, and you could retire now, I think that's brilliant. I've achieved what I want to achieve, but I wouldn't stop work. Yeah. So I don't see myself stopping for 15 or 20 years. And that's the reality. Because I think by that stage, I'll have either have got it, it would have made a decent enough money that the whole family's got enough and they're set up and they're, all sorted. If they want to carry on with it beyond that, well, that's down to them. But I think for 15, 20 years, I'm going to carry on, not exit. But although, stepping back more, but I still enjoy it.
Yeah. Again, the conclusion of false exit, I wrote about the Queen. And, when I was young, she was a very, very active royal. And then towards the end of her life, she did a couple of ceremonies a year. And that was it. But she was still the figurehead. She was still the head of the royal family. And her role evolved over that period. It wasn't, sorry she got ill and then she wasn't able to do this. No, right up until her 96th birthday. I mean, quickly, a week before she died, she was welcoming the Prime Minister to Balmoral and, performing her duties. What she had done, though, was over time delegated more, not abdicated, never abdicated.
Yeah.
And just gave responsibility away and accepted that she can still run her organisation her way, according to her vision and her values, but leaning more on the children, the grandchildren, and probably it would have been ultimately the great grandchildren that would have helped. How is that with you? You mentioned a team of 24, was it?
Yep. Yeah. So we've got I've got two business partners, sort of major shareholders, Darren and Chris. So they will take very different roles. Chris and I sort of overlap a bit. Darren and Chris overlaps a bit. I don't really overlap much with Darren. And then we've got Chelsea, my daughter, and Mia as well as a fellow director. So we've got 5 of us in the board. We all bring different things to it, and I think it's good. It's good that other people are better at things than me. I think I used to think I was. Well, I did definitely for a period was the best at everything, but I did then work 70 hours a week, and that isn't sustainable. I'd be getting up in the morning at 6 o'clock, doing an hour, having some breakfast, going to work, working 9 till 5:30, whatever, coming home, having some dinner, sitting with a laptop on the side of the sofa for 3 hours, and then rinse and repeat just day after day during the week, and then probably one day or half a day each day at the weekends as well. So it wasn't sustainable to do. And then I think it all started that, to be fair, I think a lot of my mindset changed when I started running. And I started running because I got put in for a charity, Rowcroft Hospice, a colour run on Painton Seafront, on Painton Beach. And I got put in for that. And I was like, I'd like to be able to run that. And I didn't run at all. I played football, played tennis, did loads of sport, but never actually ran, just went out and ran. So I put myself through my own training so I could run this run. I started listening to music and just couldn't listen to music because every time the beat was faster, I'd run faster, or slower, I'd run slower. It just did my head in. I'd be listening to things, I can't be doing that. So I started exploring podcasts and audiobooks. So I started off with one I found early on. I can't remember how I got there. I started listening to The Eventual Millionaire by Jamie Masters, so an American podcaster. And she then mentored a guy called John Lee Dumas, who does Entrepreneurs on Fire. And he started off doing a daily podcast when nobody was doing daily business podcasts. So that was sort of 25-minute, 30-minute every day. So I kind of got into listening to that. And then obviously as I kept running, the more I listened to more podcasts, and then discovered other ones such as the Dan Bradbury podcast, who I'd been following on. Then I got, again, I can never remember how you meet these people, first of all. They come into your knowledge sphere somewhere. And obviously then you guys with the Ambitious Lifestyle Business podcast. Obviously I knew you guys from a previous business group that we were in. So then I think you'd always been there on the periphery, and I'd known you were around, and then I'd not really paid much attention, and suddenly got into it and thought, okay, this is good. And then sort of even someone like Dan Bradbury, for example, actually entered a competition he put on LinkedIn one day, and it was a Monday morning, I think, and he put a thing out. I've got a spare ticket to fly to New York business class actually, I tell a lie, not business class, first class on Saturday. I want someone to come with me. You can sit in the plane with me and have 8 hours of chat about business. But he's got things to do during while he's there, so like literally we'll part of the airport, and then you've got to make your own way back as well. So I was like, okay, I'll enter this. Why not? So I took a gamble for 10 minutes, filled out a form, and I've tried to enter things quite a lot in the past and put a lot of effort into them, and it hasn't necessarily worked. So I've been for an interview for Countdown. I went for a sort of test on that. Did very well on the thing, but the old woman who was not very good on it got on the program and I didn't. So don't know what they were looking for. I also got an audition for The Chase. Again, did really well. Answered more questions than the people in the group with me.
Yeah, they don't want clever people. They have to give away money if they get the answers right.
So I didn't really. So I was like, I don't want to do that. I even applied last year with my daughter, which would have been an interesting TV experience, and we are hoping that they carry it across to this year for Race Around the World. Because we're very similar in many ways, and I think our family think we would have killed each other, but didn't even get to the point of any response to that. And they said they're not going to respond if you don't get through. So I've done a lot of these things, I put effort into it, and not got anywhere with it. This one I put 10 minutes in, and then next thing I know, I'm getting a call and going, Dan wants to chat with you. Had a chat. Next thing he's like, yeah, have you got a passport? Send me the details. I'll get you on the flight. As it happened, he had to cancel the whole flight and then rebook it, and I got a return as well. So first class both directions. Got to spend time with Dan, which was great. Got to learn an awful lot and ask him lots of questions. Obviously, I read a couple of his books as well. And I spent 24 hours in New York. So literally arrived at 4:00 in the afternoon or something like that on the Saturday. Went to a baseball game. Went out running early in the morning around Corona Park. Went on a whistle stop sightseeing tour. And then 4:00 in the afternoon, back in the taxi, back to the airport, and then flying home. So that was quite a good sort of thing where I went and did something completely random that I wasn't expecting to do by putting a bit of effort in. And then I ended up years later. It did take me a while, to be fair. You guys didn't take as long, actually, as Dan did to get me on board for a mastermind. So it took him about 5 years. I think I've ruined his average length of time from awareness through being in his ecosystem to actually becoming a member. So
this is 5 years after he took you to New York, first class.
Yeah, I made him work for it. Yeah. Do you know what? I honestly don't think my business was ready before that. I didn't have the funds to put into it. I didn't have the time to put into it. So I could have joined and it would have been a disaster. So we did that for 2 years. And honestly, I think if I hadn't done that, I don't think our business would have been here. There was quite a lot of things we didn't know about our business that other people brought out of us. So, Dan and the other people in the mastermind brought things out of us that we're like, okay. And his assistant, Kevin, as well, was really good. So, yeah, we got some really good stuff out of that. But it eventually got to the stage where we were spending too long away from people. So we were kind of having to get up at 5 a.m. to drive up, spend the whole day thing, overnight, leave at the end of the day, get back at night. So we had 2 days of just solid, and it was just too much on an ongoing basis.
And it's brain work, isn't it? You end up just absolutely physically drained.
We used to get a lot done. So we literally start the office. As soon as we left Torquay, as soon as we got onto the A30, onto the motorway, the mobile office would open up. I'd have the laptop. Chris would normally drive. I'd be tapping away, and we'd get 3 hours worth of work done on the way to the thing. And then we'd do the whole day. And then in the evening, we'd do some stuff. So we got loads of work done. But yeah, it just got to the stage where we're like, okay, we need a bit more time to ourselves and time with family and stuff. So knock that on the head. And obviously that, as I coincided with me joining 1% Club beforehand. And that's been a real good thing for me, because I think in all these groups there's almost lots you can take, and it's about knowing what you need to do and what you want to embrace. And I think that's been quite useful with the 1% Club. It's kind of evolved slowly, because the previous group I was in with you guys, it never evolved slowly. It was kind of rip it up every 12 months.
Every January, wasn't it?
Yeah, every January, rip it up, shred it, and then we'll do something completely new. And everyone go, whoa, why have we done that? And after about 3 years of that, I was like, no, I can't be doing that. So I think, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I think
that's interesting, because obviously when we planned the 1% Club, that was one of our vision and values there, that we said, all right, we're not going to do that. And it was deliberate from day one. We didn't like when that coach did that, so we're not going to do it. And every business owner listening to this can do that in their business. They can say, you know what, this competitor does this, and we hate that they do this, so we're not going to do it. Or we love that they do that, and we're going to emulate this part of it. It's a bit like a pick and mix.
Yeah.
You walk through Woolworths and just pick up the best bits. Don't go for the fudge; it's way too heavy.
I used to love the fudge though.
I want to just row back a little bit, if I may, because you said something a few minutes ago, which was which lots of our listeners will also resonate with. You were working 70 hours a week, doing everything because you were the best in the business at doing absolutely everything that's there. I'd love to know about that realization that perhaps you weren't, but also the fact that it took you to the 24 staff that you have now, and what that recruitment process looked like, and what thought you put into that, if that's possible.
Yeah, of course. I think going back to the running thing, it was the running thing that got me into the podcast, which got me then thinking and then realizing that it wasn't the way forward. So I think it was back then. So that was probably 10 years ago now, when I started to think that. It just took a while to get to the stage where I could probably happily hand over stuff. And I suppose it was just small steps. It was like kind of going, okay, yeah, you're better at that. So my daughter Chelsea runs our lettings team. She's the lettings director. She's better at that than I am, because she's just embraced it and she focuses on it. I can do it very well, but I'm then doing this, and I'm doing a bit of accounts, and I'm doing a bit of marketing, and I'm doing a bit of business development, and I'm doing a bit of, the boring stuff sometimes. So yeah, it's very much that kind of thing led me to think that other people were better. And the more you get out of doing something, I used to be really good at valuing property. But now people phone me up, can you come and value my house? And I'm like, no, you actually want somebody who knows what they're doing. And okay, yeah, I can come and give you the fluff, and I can tell you what you need to do to your house. Some stuff doesn't change. But you want the finger on the pulse of the market? That's not me. I've got a fairly good idea. I keep an eye, but that's not good enough in my world. That's not good enough. Me going, I think it's worth about this is nowhere near as Darren or Chris going out, knowing the market intimately and going, okay, yeah, there's these 3 houses have sold. We sold this one around the corner. We've got this one on the market at the moment. This is why your property is worth this, with confidence, because it's the right thing for the customer. And not me. And I think as I've given more and more away and let more and more people do more things, the more I'm willing to give it away. And I think then the realization a couple of years ago, when I was in Tenerife, it was a December Ambitious Lifestyle Business podcast I was listening to when you were awarding Michelle the Pink Flamingo Award, and I was on a trail run. And it was quite a rocky one, so I'm really having to pay attention to where I'm going with my feet. But this was coming through my ears, and I was like, okay, this is good. And it was just about how much time Michelle spent out of her business. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do more of that. And I only that year bought a place in Tenerife. So we had the vision that we're going to spend a bit more time out of it anyway. But it just got me the thinking of, actually, I need to step back even more. I need to I need to do less. That sounds terrible because I've got two business partners who work hard. I don't want to do less. I just need to do less of the stuff that I don't need to be doing and let other people come in and do the stuff better or as good as me, or even not as good as me. And the reality is, when you're not doing it all the time, you're not going to be as good. So I appreciate now I'm not as good as I used to be at certain things, and also because I'm older, probably not so good at some certain things. But actually, mainly about the fact that 80% of me at my peak is probably perfectly fine if I don't have to do it. Because if I can then focus on the more important things rather than the smaller things. So I think that was the realization there that got me moving more towards getting somebody else to do the job. And not getting in their way either. I don't want to micromanage people. It's too difficult to micromanage people. And it doesn't really achieve anything.
I think that's the one piece of mindset that a lot of small business owners have a problem with, and that is the letting go piece. It's the bit where, well, no, it's my business, I'm the best, and I need to do it all. And actually, they don't tend to hire better, and that's a shame for lots of people, actually, because actually where you're not the best in the world at doing whatever it may be, valuations is a great example of that. Actually, there are other people who can concentrate and do it as part of their main role and actually get better at it than you can ever be, because you're spread so thin. And so I think, lots of small business owners really struggle with that letting go piece enough to be able to say, actually, I'm not the best at this. I'm not. I have got a better team, and Michelle is a great example that her team are better at that. She's figurehead, she'll do the videos and stuff, but actually speak to one of her team, because actually they're the experts in the property tax bit now. They're the ones with the finger on the pulse. They know the latest legislation. They know all the things that's going on. And I think that's a real good turning point to be able to go, actually, I need some more time out of the business. And it's really interesting that you brought up false exit again just a few minutes ago. And actually that's something that you'd like to try to achieve within the business that you're in order to have that legacy piece.
Yeah.
But also,
definitely. It's not a legacy for the sake of it. So if someone said to me tomorrow, here's a stupid amount of money to sell the business and it sorts us all out and they want to change the name of the business and move it somewhere else. Yeah, okay, fine. I'm not that bothered about the legacy. Yeah. Would it be nice if in 20 years, 30 years time, the business is still here and I've got family still running it and in it? Yeah, it'd be nice. But it's not that important to me. It's not that important to me as an overall thing.
That was the mic drop at the end of the false exit. It was, well, if you do all this work to create your false exit, guess what? Your business is also insanely sellable. It's more valuable than it otherwise would be.
Yeah, definitely. I think I have been looking at that for a while. We use Traction in our business as well to help run it, sort of the EOS system. So we don't have an implementer; we just do it ourselves. And I'm the crazy guy who comes up with all the ideas, but isn't really the implementer. So I'm the one who just comes up with these ideas, and everyone goes, "No, it's a really bad idea, and then eventually I come up with a good one. So that's mainly what my work is on now. But I think it's important to keep evolving as well. We've got to keep changing things, and we're forever coming up with new ideas and trying them. We're quite agile. That's the best way of describing us as a business. We've always been, think of an idea. Is it going to work? Is it going to cost us a lot if it doesn't work? Is it going to be a pain if it doesn't work? Or can we just try it and see if it works? So we'll often do things and trying it out. Like, for example, at the moment we're now trialing a 9-day fortnight for our team. We scaled our days back to the 4-day week for me, Chris, and Darren last year. I ended up getting to the end of the year and still having holiday left because I'd not taken it all. So it didn't really work for me. I probably want to work more. But we now moved everybody to a 9-day fortnight, trying that for 3 months. Hopefully that's going to work. There's been a few challenges to start with. There's just some logistical challenges. You've got different offices, you've got different numbers in teams, you've got different places.
Customers' expectations.
The expectations aren't the problem. The customers aren't the problem, actually, because we've always got coverage. It's just making sure that the team don't feel overwhelmed when they perhaps don't have quite as many staff members or your colleagues around. So it's just about planning better. I'm going to have to do a bit more work on our diary management as well, which I think will help that. But we're a month in. I think people are enjoying the time off, whatever they're doing with it. Some are doing not a lot, I think, and some are really embracing it and going and playing tennis every Tuesday afternoon or something like that. So it's quite good for me. I've always been sort of flexy with mine. I'm like, if I'm not doing anything, I might as well come to work. So I prefer to be away.
Speaking of time off, Simon, you mentioned earlier on your trail run in Tenerife, listening to Michelle Marsland our inaugural winner of the Pink Flamingo Award. 2023's winner, Alistair Imray, got himself a holiday home in Spain, took himself off the tools from his flooring business. And 2024's winner spent 93 days last year at his holiday home in Tenerife. What message would you have for that person, Simon?
Well, I didn't spend 93 days in Tenerife, actually. To tell you about it. There was 93 days away abroad.
Okay.
So there was about 50, 60 days in Tenerife. And then, probably 50. Spent a lot of time. We did have a few weddings, some of which were abroad. We did have a funeral again, which was abroad. So, some times where we had to go. But yeah, we enjoy our holidays. So it's nice spending some time away. I don't mind when I'm in Tenerife. I do still work most of the time. Christmas, I don't tend to because we shut the business down for 2 weeks near enough. So I try not to do too much work over the Christmas period. But if I'm there any other time, I try to work in the morning. I've got an outside office, so it's a nice place to go and work. And 99% of the time, the weather suits me to work outside. Don't have to battle with traffic to get to the office. But when I am here, I am actually in the office. So, like today, I'm in the office. It's rare I work from home. If I'm in for a full day, I'm normally coming into the office rather than being at home. I like seeing the staff. I like touching base with them. I think they prefer to know I'm there. That sounds weird. But I think if I was working for somebody and I never see the boss, I'm just like, oh, what does he do? Whereas I prefer to actually be visible. When I'm here, I'd like to be visible. So, yeah. But certainly, I think I was surprised probably to win the award this year. I had this aim when I listened to Michelle's inaugural win, and I probably put myself in the next 5 years. I was thinking, maybe in 5 years' time I'll be there. So I've won it after 2 years. It's quite pleasing. And I think I've got a bit of a task on my hands to try and help you guys work out who's going to get it in 2025 as well. So
yeah, there was a big shortlist this year. Let's just say.
Yeah, Alistair said it's quite difficult. So yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more people from that list, plus a few new ones coming in. So yeah,
that's the thing is Michelle inspired Alistair, Alistair's inspired you, Michelle's inspired you. The three of you are now inspiring a new group of people to also find their pink flamingo, and it doesn't need to be moving abroad. It doesn't need to be having a holiday home. It can just be taking time out of the business. But all three of you are incredibly inspirational for the 1% Club as a whole.
Yeah, I think, from that point of view, the other guys definitely inspired me. I think it helps if you are away. It does make it easier. I think if you're taking the time out of the business, but you're not doing anything, if you're just sitting around the house pottering around instead of going to work, that isn't for me. That's not my kind of thing. I don't mind if I don't really play golf, but if I'm going to go play golf for the day, or I'm going to go and do something else for the day, that's fine. But I know that being away is really important. And I particularly we also like cruising with my wife. So I deliberately don't take the internet package on any cruise. So I'm properly disconnected for a week or 2 weeks with that, which I do like, because I'm pretty much on 24/7 otherwise. Even when I'm on the holiday, I'm sort of like lurking around and or in Tenerife.
I found that I did a staycation last summer. So I did a 3-week staycation. So I'm not working for 3 weeks. And then I told everyone, well, I am here. So if you need me, just message me because I am here. And lo and behold, I did quite a bit of work over those 3 weeks. Whereas if I was away, I'm away.
Yeah, it is easier. And at Christmas, we had the whole family over. So whereas I'd normally do a bit at the start and a bit at the end, because we had the whole family over, I just did the bare minimum I had to do. It was just, the odd meeting that was important. We had an interview, which I did from the beach. I wasn't leading the interview. Chris was leading that with Mia. But yeah, so it's fine dropping those bits in, because I'd much rather drop those bits in and do the odd bit of work while I'm away than come back and then have loads of things to catch up on. But it does also refresh me massively. I come back with a renewed vigor for the business and for improving things. So we now started the 4.5 day week. We're now looking at a bit more this year, and I've been talking to you guys about it in the last week or so about AI, how we can embrace that. I've certainly been reading this weekend, even though I've been off, about DeepSeek, and I'm planning on giving a bit of trial of that this week and seeing where we can use that with the agent sort of features, because I think there is some stuff we can utilize, and also outsourcing some of the simple basic tasks overseas, and that could expand more from the basic tasks, but effectively the lower value tasks that are maybe a bit compliance based, bit of some boring ones, the ones that the staff don't tend to enjoy doing.
Yeah.
But they need to be done to make sure everything's right. They're the sort of things we're looking to outsource. So I expect probably by this time next year we'll have a couple of overseas staff members and AI a bit more embedded within the business. So I think that's the future. I think that's not getting political at all, but I don't think the government really understands small business. The changes that are happening with national insurance next year, the minimum wage, the changes to employment legislation, so many things. And, we're not even hospitality, so we're not going to be affected by the rise in the hospitality for business rates. And I don't think they get them. And I don't think it's just this government. I don't think most governments get small businesses. But when you see lots of business people, small business sort of leaders talking about, this is not right, you just can see things going downhill. And I'd love to say, yeah, we're really busy and we're taking on 2 or 3 new staff in the UK. I just don't see it at the moment.
No.
I mean, we have the bare minimum we have to have to do the job that's physically here. But anything we can outsource, I think we'll have to.
Yeah. Human capital has never been more expensive.
Yeah.
And I have to say, we don't do politics on this podcast.
No, we don't. No. It's a good job we don't, isn't it?
We do lifestyle and we do business. And we put those 3 things together to ask the last question, Simon, if I may, and that is, what does an ambitious lifestyle business look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's still having that ambition. And I think as I said today, I've definitely got the ambition to carry on growing the business and growing the income. But that can't come, for me, at the cost of my lifestyle. So it's all designed for the lifestyle. And I think that's really important for me because, a couple of books I read last year that came actually from the 1% Club, the book club. So we've got, they are here for props, Die with Zero, which I think was quite good. And in my mind, it was very good actually. In my mind, I'd already sort of had these thoughts of like, okay, what do I need? How do I need it? When do I need it? What am I going to spend the money on, and so on, and kind of had a bit of a plan, but that put it in a bit more detail, and I've done a bit more work on that. And then again, talking about AI and talking about outsourcing, buy back your time. So utilizing other people and other ways so that I'm not spending as much time doing the business and giving myself that lifestyle that I want, but also still having that ambition.
Brilliant. And I wasn't being rude about politics. If you want to catch up with our Not Doing Politics, do listen to our Christmas special 2024. Simon, you've been absolutely fantastic joining us today.
That's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much indeed for all that insight. Brilliant.
We shall see you, dear listener, next month on the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast. Cheerio.
So there we are, another episode in the can. How was it for you? Please let us know. However you listen to these podcasts, please leave a review on that platform. Let us know what we can do better, what you like, what you don't like, and how we can improve to make this show even better for you. We'll see you next time.